Back here in northeast Wisconsin, a prime piece of real estate along Highway 41 between De Pere and Kaukauna is a mess, and it's been that way for years.
Dozens of wrecked cars and all sorts of other equipment litter that property in Outagamie County. It's located along the west side of Highway 41 in the town of Kaukauna. It's right across from the highway's way station. Government leaders have been trying to clean it up for years, so why hasn't anything changed? Well, tonight Fox 11 investigates searches for answers. Robert Hornacek is asking the tough questions.
It's been there forever.
It's kind of an eyesore, I guess.
We desperately want to see it cleaned up.
Drive along Highway 41 and it's hard to miss. Old cars with smashed out windows, rusty old trucks, cranes, even a boat. Thousands of people drive by this property in the town of Kaukauna every single day. People like Melissa Arndt.
It seems like every time I drive by, I notice something new out there that I didn't notice before. Like today, I noticed a school bus out there.
There's even an old house that looks like it's falling apart. That caught the attention of one of our viewers, who asked Fox 11 to look into the property. In an email, the viewer says it's been bothering him for over a decade. He asks, why hasn't anyone demanded this be torn down? If you just take one look at this property, you can tell a lot of this stuff has been here for a very long time. Now, no one knows exactly how long it's been here, but we can tell you that much of this equipment has been on this property for decades. Here's what the property looked like from the air in 2010. This map is from the Outagamie County Land Office. You can see the scattered pieces of equipment spread out on the property, and it looks pretty much the same 10 years earlier. But the 1992 aerial map from the county looks a bit different. The house is in a different spot. That's because in 1998, the Wisconsin Department of Transportation purchased the house and 4 acres of property so this frontage road could be built. And the DOT says the property owners bought the house back from the state and moved it to where it is today. The county's aerial map from 1980 also shows some items collected on the property, but if you go back to the 1964 aerial map, the property looks just like any other. John Alfieri is the chairman of the town of Kaukauna.
It's an eyesore.
He says the town had no ordinance in place to stop the old cars and other equipment from piling up on the property. And when the town finally created an ordinance to deal with the issue in the mid-1980s, it was too late.
All we can do is tell him that don't add any junk to it, but he's grandfathered in.
So now the town's hands are tied.
It's frustrating on one hand because people call up and say, "What are you doing about it?" And they don't like the answer when I say I'm doing what I can.
Is there really anything the town can do about that property?
No.
Nothing.
Nothing.
State Rep Jim Steinecke is very familiar with the property. He used to be on the county board.
Neither the town nor the county has any authority to force them to clean it up.
Steinecke says within the last 5 years, the Department of Natural Resources looked at the property after a resident complained about it. But the DNR found no issues.
Every government agency that has any ability to look at this has already looked at it, from the county to the DNR, to the town, to the state. Everybody's been involved at some point along the way.
And there's nothing they can do.
Right.
Is there anything you can do as a state lawmaker to address a situation like this?
I don't believe so. Being that the property was already grandfathered in under previous law before I ever got into office, I don't think that there's anything that we couldn't put in place right now that would be retroactive that would force the cleanup of the property.
So what about the property owners? What do they have to say about the property? Fox 11 Investigates tried to contact Donald and Judith Schmidt. Several phone calls went unanswered, and no one came to the door when we stopped by their home. I eventually reached Judith Schmidt on the phone, but she did not want to do an interview because she says she hasn't been to this property in over 25 years and really didn't have anything to say about it. As for all of this equipment, she says her husband acquired much of it at auctions, and it just accumulated here over a number of years. While the property might not be pleasing to the eye, the owners are not violating any ordinances or laws.
The property owners aren't doing anything that's illegal. They're in complete adherence with the law.
It'd be like having a neighbor with a weedy lawn and the ordinances doesn't cover natural lawn. I mean, you can be mad about it, but if that's the rules, that's the rules.
The bottom line, no matter what passersby or politicians might say, this property won't be cleaned up until the owners decide to clean it up. For Fox 11 Investigates, I'm Robert Hornacek.
And the town leaders say this isn't the only property like this in the town. There is another property just a few miles away that has similar issues. That one is not nearly as visible. If you would like to see how the Highway 41 property has changed over the last 50 years, go to our website, fox11online.com, and click on the Investigate section. There you can see the aerial views of the property dating back to the 1960s.